Hello viewers, it's Peter Elgar, the old photography bloke here again. This time I'm going to do something a bit different. I'm going to do one of these vlogs. My daughter says, if you run out of ideas talking about cameras, why don't you do a vlog? I said, well, what's one of those? She said, they just sit there talking into the camera. And I thought, blimey, that's a bit boring, isn't it? She said, well, these girls who talk into the camera about what they've bought on Primark, they get millions of views. And this one she watches on how to do makeup. They get millions of views. I couldn't believe it. How boring is that? Well, I'm not going to be boring just me with my old face now, because it's my birthday today. Another year older. I'm 82, would you believe? Good God. I'm all haggard and horrible looking, but never mind. I'm still going just about. I'm going to talk about my adventures as a local press photographer and freelance. I started in 1970 as a local freelance, and I had done a bit of press work in the late 1950s when I left the army in the 60s for the Stratford Express. And anyway, I started full time with the promise of a few weddings and a bit of contract with some of the local newspapers. So we'll talk about the equipment I used first, then I'll show you some pictures, tell you some stories. My first good camera was a 35mm, was a Zeiss Pentax Model 3, bought in Berlin for a princely sum of £38, translated from Deutschmarks. That had an uncoated sonar. When I started doing press work, I used to cut the top off mare's head and VIP, the dreadful little viewfinder. And then one of the partners had been to Singapore, and he got this weird camera called an Asahi Pentax. Nobody had ever heard of these. But the Takuma lens, we never heard of Takuma lenses. We only heard of Elmars and Sonars and the German ones. Never heard of it. But the results he got. So one day, there was a little crowd of people in the looking into the window of a camera shop in Barking in Essex, and I rushed over. What's going on? And in the window was one only Japanese camera, an Asahi Pentax S3. Blow me, £82, fortune. I rushed in. I offered my contacts in part exchange, and I rushed out, the proud owner of an Asahi Pentax S3, and this is the actual one. Look, I've got it back again. I told you the story on my other video of how I sold this for 20 quid to a bloke, and he's phoned me up and said, would you like it back because it's not working? I said, yeah, but that's 40 years later. It's over 55 years old. Or you do the maths. From 1961 to 2019. 58 years old, I think, isn't it? This is the actual one. So all it needed was a good lubrication, and it all works again. No problem. See, that's the actual one I used for a lot of time. Now, we had to have a flash. So in the army, I bought myself a Braun Hobby unit from the Canadian Maple Leaf store with no tax for 14 quid. One of these huge things with a power pack. And over here at the time, they were £39 with all the taxes. So I got it in Germany for the equivalent of 14 quid. You see these on the films of the Beatles coming down the gangway of an aeroplane in London Heathrow, and all the photographers with these big Braun units with their Rolleiflexes all snapping away at the Beatles. And it has a wet cell accumulator in the power pack at the back here. And of course that is acid in that. That's long since gone, but it still works. I can plug an electric cable into the socket here, and it works off the mains. And you can put more than one head on it. So I use that for a long time with a synchronizing lead. It plugs into the X socket there of the Pentax. So I used Pentax for years and years and years, and then suddenly in 1986, I think it was, along came the bayonet Pentaxes, and this one only synchronised with flash to 1/50th of a second. There's a little X mark there, which is 50th. So it's very slow for use with flash. So I got myself a Pentax ME Super. I still kept the screw ones. This is a Pentax ME Super. Now that's synchronised with flash to 125th of a second. So that's much faster. And you can take a picture with no batteries on 125th of a second. You put it to there to 125th, wind it on, take a picture. And that's got no batteries in it because I haven't used it for a while, so I've taken the batteries out. But it works with no batteries on 125th. So I could go out in a dull day, I could use 125th with a bit of fill-in flash. So then I use an MX as well, but that synchronised only a 60th. I bought an ME Super and a Pentax MX. The MX is completely gone. I burnt out the flash contacts because you take so many flash pictures with press work. So then I got a Pentax professional one, the LX. Now that's an LX, no lens, but that only synchronises up to a 75th of a second, would you believe? Useless for filming flash outdoors, because even with 100 ASA film, colour print film, you're shooting in bright sun between 11 and 16, and if you want to put the background at focus for the 1000th, it won't synchronise with flash. It only synchronises at 75th, and with that, you stop down your, between 16 and 22. So in bright sunshine, terrible. Then people say Leica. Leica's a good press camera, but it's okay if you don't have to use flash once again, because it synchronises a dreadfully slow speed of 50th of a second. It is quiet like that, but with local press photography, you don't need to sneak up on people. You set up the picture. If it's a presentation of a check, you set it up. People know you're going to photograph them, so you don't need a quiet shutter where they don't think you're going to photograph them. All that business. Anyway, I treated myself to a Leica. It's a 1965 M2, and I've made videos of that. It's not trivially good for press work, although I did use it with a 35 Sumilux and a 90mm Elmar. I've done a few press jobs with it. Then I managed to, my wife had a Nikon I bought out for cheap, and so I succumbed to the Nikon, and I got a Nikon FE2, is this one, from a camera club member. 180 quid that was, with a motor wind, and I use my wife's lenses. But this synchronises with flash to a 250th of a second, and that's the one that all the local men was using together with their Metz hammerhead flashes, which we used after the Braun Hobbies went out. One of these beauties. We all had a Metz flash, and I don't think it's flashes now because the battery hasn't been charged up for ages. This is the Metz flash. You plug it in to your socket on the Nikon or your Pentax. 3mm coaxial socket, you can plug it in, or you can get a different lead, one of these, with a little box at the bottom there, and you can plug it into the hot shoe, and you can do through the lens flash metering with a Nikon FE2. And then on the top here you can control the output of your flash. With the Braun Hobby, you see, it was either half power or it was full power. You didn't have anything in between, and sometimes even half power was too powerful if you're doing fairly close-up stuff for filling flash where you want it weak. But these ones were very good for the press, because you can, say you're using 100 ASA colour print film, you set your little dial to 100 there, and then you've got a choice of 5 apertures. So say in bright sun, you was getting 2/50th at f11. Then for your flash, you would set the flash to 5.6 on this little dial here. And the flash will think it's giving out light for 5.6. But on the shutter speed and setting an aperture of your camera, you're using 2/50th f11. So it underexposes the flash. And that is how you do your fill-in flash. You can 2 stops or 1 stop underexposed by choosing a little aperture on here with your Mecha Blitz. They've gone out of favour now even. You see these press photographers, they've all got these on the top of their camera flashes like Nikon and Canon units. Don't use the Mecha Blitz anymore, but I do. But then along came digital. I remember before the digital, I bought the Brentwood Gazette's famous camera that they used for colour transparency. That's right. When everything changed to being lith printed, they had web offset, and instead of plates where they banged the plates down, that letterpress, you could use colour with web offset. So that they didn't want 35mm, they wouldn't allow it. So they got themselves a medium format camera specifically for the colour pictures. And this is it. This was a 1962 Rolleicord. And the Brentwood Gazette used that as their staff camera for their colour pictures in the Brentwood Gazette Essex Chronicle series. And they would have an E6 processing line in their darkroom and do all their 120 E6. Then they sold that to a local dealer for 50 quid, I heard. So I rushed round there. I said, I hear you've got a Rolleicord. He said, all right. He said, you can have it for 60. So anyway, he made 10 quid on the deal. I got this Rolleicord for 60 quid. Now, they're very, very much more expensive nowadays, but that was quite good. It's got a sharp Xenon lens. Very, very sharp. I've done some really good stuff with that. But the beauty of it is, it has a between the lens shutter. And it will synchronise with flash to a 500th of a second for your fill-in. Whereas the focal plane shutters, you see, even with the Nikon, only goes to 250. And the original Pentax was only 1/50th, same as the Leica. Because they've got focal plane shutters. This one has between the lens shutter. It's got synchro compure shutter, and you can use a 500th with your flash. Then came along the dreaded digital. So I won £250 of vouchers from the famous company Jessop's. That almost went broke till one of these entrepreneurs bought up the company. They've saved it just about. And I won these Jessop's vouchers, 250 quid. So I splashed out in 2007 on a dreaded digital Pentax. Because the beauty of this, it will take all my old screw lenses with a screw to bayonet adapter, and it takes all the bayonet lenses. So this was the only lens I got with it, the 18 to 55mm kit lens as it's called. That's the only one I got with it. So I just paid off the rest. It was 600 quid. But luckily, as I was working, it was tax deductible, so I could put it down against income tax. But that's the dreaded digital. Now, I've done a lot of work with that, and I'll show you some of the pictures I've done with my digital. But I find this, however, this one, I find it back focuses. I can't always get it sharp. You're supposed to have autofocus and all stuff like that on it. When it's focused up, this kit lens, it back focuses. It drives me mad. So I don't use the kit lens much. I've gone back to my old Pentax bayonet lens and I set it to manual focus on the little lever here. And I manually focus the lens looking through the viewfinder. This one synchronises with flash to 180th of a second. So that's almost as fast as the Nikon, but not quite. So then on top of that, we don't use the Mecha Blitz because they've got no 3mm coaxial plug. I do use the Mecha Blitz with that little box I told you about, plugged into the hot shoe with a Pentax box, but this is the one I use a lot now. This is a Sunpack Auto 36 FD with a reflector like that, and I can get some wonderful results because it's soft light, very good for people pictures, you see. And on the back of it, if you want to weaken the flash, you can by setting the flash to a wider aperture than you actually use on your lens, exactly the same with the film. You can use it for filling, or you can use it on full power flash for the purposes when you're in the darkened room or something like that. It's not quite as powerful as the Mecha Blitz, but for loads and loads of jobs it does the job. Especially good for people being presented with prizes and checks, you know, fairly close up stuff like that. So I'll show you a few pictures now. This is one of me when West Ham won the FA Cup against Arsenal. Now I had the job to go along to photograph some of the West Ham footballers, and that's the two of them sitting in their garden, and watch the reflections. I can't remember their names. I'm not a football fan, I just had to photograph it. So I went to Wembley Stadium and photographed the FA Cup there, and then I had to come back and do some pictures of the footballers, and they dressed me up with a hammer for West Ham, and then I've got it's an Arsenal shirt on, but I'm holding the hammers, the West Ham hammer thing. So I got that one used. Now I got quite well known in the local papers. This is the yellow advertiser, and it's a free one. Now that's gone broke now. We don't get a Brentwood edition anymore, all finished. But I had a reporter come round and do a whole story about me, about how I make up my solutions. There's a picture of me there in my white coat, and one of my press photographs of a guy at the end of a rope doing tug of war. That was a press picture, but it's also done well in exhibitions. And I remember I took that with HP3 film, developed in the original Pro Micro powder, and I did it on my S3 Pentax with my 105mm Super Takuma lens. I remember all these details, so although I'm a bit old, luckily I can still remember things. Everything else about me is going wrong, but look, I went to Wembley game when Billericay won the FA Vase twice. I think it was 1975. There's one I found in my files, taken at Wembley Stadium. I don't remember their names. I don't even remember what team they was playing, but Billericay Town, and they won the FA Vase. This is also HP film, developed in Pro Micro. This was with a screw thread Pentax ES, which I had for a while. I bought in Japan, but that was the Electro Spotmatic, and it was nothing but trouble. It was the Japanese home market version. Nothing but trouble, flipping thing. I took it with a 300mm Halimex lens like that, preset lens, very old. I got it for 21 quid from a camera club member when I belonged to Barking Photographic Society. It's very old. It's screw thread, so it fitted on my screw cameras. Manual focus, of course, nothing automatic. And it was a preset aperture. That's the one I used. The actual lens, I still got it in my cupboard. So then, what do I do with, have I done any famous people? People ask. Well, I've done a few. I have done Princess Anne. I photographed her, but I've got no pictures of her because the last one I had in my files was on the old Kodak EP2 went all funny colours and I dumped it, so I haven't got Princess Anne, but I've got some black and white ones. Got Ken Dodd, he's died now. Photographed him at the Brentwood Centre. Vince Hill, photographed him on stage. Now look at that. There I used a exposure compensation, because you've got a black suit, you've got black background, and you have to give less exposure on automatic because of the black background. So that's with a Pentax 80 to 200mm zoom. And that was with Kodak T-Max 400, rated 1600 ASA. And it was still a bit contrasty, but this is printed on sort of multi-grade type paper. There's the famous Cliff Richard when he was just Cliff. Now he's Sir Cliff. Look, that's him, Cliff Richard. I've also done Harry Seacombe, Sacha Distel, Engelbert Humperdinck, Mike and Bernie Winters. They had a big row and they came off stage. One of them said, that's the one with the big dog, Schmaltz or something. They said, one had a big row. One of them said, all right, I'm going to Munich. I might see you there. They all row it. Then the other one, the guy who sings Moon River. What's his flipping name? Moon River. I had to photograph him and his wife, blonde woman. She had a big row with the bar staff because they wouldn't serve her with any more drink because she was already drunk. Oh, terrible, these people. They all get drunk. What's his flipping name? Moon River. I can't remember his name. My memory's going there. Anyway, I had to photograph him. Then once or twice you get a picture on a job which is worth showing at the camera club. Look, the old lady there. That's with my screw thread Pentax with 200mm super multi-coated Takuma. That was FP4 developed in Accutol. How do I know? Well, crafting. Like I write it on the back. And I called it Hold On To Your Hat, Grandma. But that was a press picture taken at a local fete. Now, here's one. This was in Brentwood High Street, a load of bodies of children. The whole High Street was closed down especially for a photo opportunity. Fire, police and ambulance services had a full-scale emergency exercise. So here, I used my Pentax Electro Spotmatic before it went wrong with a 24mm super multi-coated Takuma. So I've got him sharp and I've got him right sharp back there. And I used very slow film KB14. And it's an automatic exposure f8. And you don't use majority of stuff for press. You don't go around using 40 ASA film. It's too slow. But nobody was moving. So I only did a short length and developed it. I thought it might make a press picture, or it might make a club picture as well as a press picture. That was used in the newspaper. And another one here, the old lady, she's probably long since died, in Worley Hospital, that was. He used to go to Worley Hospital and it always smelt of Jay's fluid because it was all old geriatrics there. Now, they've turned it into luxury accommodation, £1 million apartments. But you go there, their apartments still smell of Jay's fluid. But that was natural light. That was with 35mm lens on a Pentax screw thread. I've done a big print of that. Here's a few cuttings now. March 27, 2015. Oh yeah, I'll show you the 2012 one first, date order. Yellow advertiser, look. Olympic torch comes to town. They sat me on the back of a lorry full up with photographers and I had to sit on the back holding on for dear life while this lorry followed all the runners and the crowds going through Brentwood for the Olympic torch. And then I had to get some press pictures. I made a few there, a lot of pictures. So that was on me 2012. Yes, that was all on digital because I've got my digital 2007. So that's all Pentax digital. And then here we are. This is I'm showing you that one. Oh, here we are. Every year we have in Brentwood, half marathon and a 3-mile fun run. Well, I go to that most years, and I organise a trip with Brentwood Photographic Society members. See if they all turn up to exercise their cameras. Look, that's front page picture there of the runners. I stood on a wall to get that. Take your life in your hands. Now this is all digital. There's a load there. Now, when you're a long way off, you can't easily use fill-in flash. But I think I've used, for some of the closer up ones, I've used a bit of fill-in flash. But what you do, you have to email the pictures to the picture desk, and somehow, I don't know what they do, they get it in the paper. How it all works, I've got no idea. This is lighting up Brentwood. Go there every year, switch on all the lights with the mayor. Now you've got mixed light in here, and that's frozen, look, no flash, natural light. Then some outdoors, like that one that was with flash. Then that was outdoors with flash. That's natural light. That's daylight with a bit of fill-in flash. You see, you have to decide what you're going to do. Scene like that, you don't use a flash. You set your white balance to tungsten light or automatic. Sometimes does good. No flash. And here, if there's enough light on the front of them, you can use no flash as well. But in the dark streets, like this one, you've got to use a bit of that one. You've got to use a bit of flash. But when you do, like with my old Mecha Blitz, you find if you use a flash without any compensation, their faces come out all overexposed, all white, because of the black background. The sensor is wide enough to pick up the black of the background. So you uprate your film on here. So say you set 200 on your digital ISO, you put 400 on here, and the flash thinks it's 400, and in fact you're using 200. Or if you set in f8 on your camera aperture, you set f5, 6 or f4 on the dial. It's another way of doing it. You cut down the power of the flash. Otherwise their faces are burned out. And on the digital you can't burn it in like you can on the print in the darkroom. The Yellow Advertiser Group have a sister newspaper called the Chingford Times. They started sending me there occasionally to cover big events, because they did have their own photographer, or they would send somebody from Basildon, but they'd send me this one, a big weekender. One of my pictures, you see. There you go there, with your digital Pentax and your little fill-in flash. Page 15 to 18. Oh, I've got a double page spread here, loads of the blighters. You get a credit as well, pictures by Peter Elgar, all by... Now they've nearly all had fill-in flash. That one there. And then we've got this double page spread. They're different lenses. See, I've got people on stage there. And then I've got people in the crowd picking out with a... That's with a 70 to 210 zoom. Now I've got given a Prince Flex zoom sold by Dixon's, Pentax bayonet. So I tried it out on film. It was amazingly sharp. So I tried it out with digital. It's amazingly sharp for a Prince Flex lens. So originally sold by Dixon's. And you can see in the glasses here, this bloke, you can see, where is he? Where is he? Oh, here he is. You might be able to see a little speck in his eyes. That's fill-in flash, you see, because he was a bit black and it was against the light. I had a bit of fill-in flash on that. And you've got to be prepared to switch it on and switch it off. I was the only one who got this proposal of marriage on stage there as well. Not policemen, with the revellers, British policemen. That's Chingford Times, that job there. It's bloody miles and miles I had to go to Chingford. Another one here. Now this one's closed down. You don't get this anymore. this paper. You used to be able to see it online, but then they started charging you to watch it online. Look, a whole day's work here. I think I've got about 90 quid for a whole day's work. You think how much a plumber charges? £85 an hour. I think I've got about 90 quid for a whole day's work. Double page spread on that job. Loads and loads. All Pentax digital. So you sort of set it all up, you see. You now these ones here, that's definitely flash. The musicians, they've got right under the trees, that one. I'll use a flash there. You had to use a flash there. Oh dear, I've got memories. Don't get 2012. I haven't had any work since 2019. Yeah, another lot here, look. I can't believe it. Another lot there. Hours and hours looking and what will make a picture, you know. What will make a picture. You get an eye for a picture after a while, for a press picture. And you've got to talk to the people. Oh, come on. Oh, here we are. Hello. And all that business. And you set them up. Another festival here. That's Chinkford. Fun at the festival. You've got a belly dancer here. The way the press have cut her out. Where is she? She's over there. Look. The way the press have cut her out against the white background. They can do all that sort of thing. I don't know how they do it. Yeah. So there's load of old rubbish there. But they're all on digital files. No negatives. My ex-wife made me dump loads and loads of my black and white negatives. One more, salute to heroes, past and present. That was Armed Forces Day, Chinkford. That's right. I go on the Armed Forces Day, Brentwood, with all my veterans gear, beret and me medals and stuff. Well, they're my dad's medals actually, but I wear them, but on the other side. Because I never got any medals when I was in the army. And so I've had one or two little things to tell you. A story about I had a free trip to France on the inauguration of a floating thing, like a rubber ring, what they call it. My memories go, what do you call it? Floating thing on the water. It's like a rubber ring, like a rubber thing. Went from Ramsgate. Anyway, I went with a girl reporter. We had to go to Calais to a hypermarket to study the prices against Sainsbury's in Brentwood High Street. So she made all this thing, wrote it all down. Coming back, she had this Gattos. He was promptly sick. And that made me ill. So another trip to France on an aeroplane, the inaugural jet aeroplane to France, from Southend Airport. The first time they had a runway long enough at Southend-on-Sea for a jet. The inaugural flight. It was full up with disabled kids and stuff. And we had the Green Cross Code man dressed up, who also did Darth Vader on the Star Wars film. He was there. So the mayor of Southend was there. I had my Mecha Blitz flash. So, here, wait a minute, Mr. Mayor. And as I was shouting out, it was a lady mayor. You still call him Mr. Mayor. As I was saying, my battery case fell out of my Mecha Blitz onto the tarmac right underneath the wing of this jet aircraft. And all the batteries, with 6 batteries, went everywhere. So, oh my God, so the mayor and me, we were both bending down under the tarmac of the giant jet, picking up my batteries bit so I could put them back together. That was another story. Coming back, the kids wanted a bit of action on so the pilot banked it all over. This huge jet banked, and the kids were all loving it. But I felt sick. I don't like these aeroplanes banking around like that. I like it a bit smooth. The other time was I had a job with the Argus newspaper. People rang in from a printing works near Basildon. Then we got a ghost. Oh yeah. So the editor said, Peter, go and photograph this ghost. I said, what do I do? He said, well, you got to stay there late at night. They say it comes out late at night. Oh my God. So my wife which wife it was, number 1 or number 2, I don't know, packed me up with some sandwiches and a flask of drink, hot drink. Go there with a girl reporter. We had to sit there in this printing works with a camera, and I didn't know what film to use to photograph ghosts. We sat there for ages. I drank my coffee, ate my sandwiches, nothing happened at all. It was a scam to get them some publicity for their printing works. Oh, what a waste of time. I got back about midnight. Load of these jobs I used to get back at midnight after going to the Haybridge Moat House, as it was, where I photographed Satchel Distel and Mark and Bernie Winters and Harry Seaton. That's now a housing estate. Hermes Kyprianou used to own that. He was a Cypriot. I think he's died now, in Ingatstone. I always have to go there late at night because the editor of the Argus was a member of the Hutton Shenfield Rotary Club. And he'd get all his Rotary cronies there, would give him a free meal, him and his wife, and all the cabaret and stuff would come on. The cabaret would start till 10 o'clock at night when they were eating their meal, and I'd have to turn up and hang around until 11:30 while they did their stuff before I could get any photographs. Oh, come home. I coming home once. I had a Morris 1000 Traveller with my cameras on the back, and a police car came round. Pulled a little blind up. It says on this little blind, "Please stop." So I thought, what's that? Because that was years and years ago. I look round. I was the only one on the road. So I thought, is it me? So I stopped. And then they got out of their car, and one of the big policemen came over and said, "Good evening, sir," he says. "Do you know your offside rear light isn't working?" I said, "No." So all my lights seemed to be working all right when I came out of the garage. He said, "Wait a minute." He said, "What's all that stuff on the back of your seat? All that camera stuff." I said, "I've been doing a job at the Haybridge Moat House." He said, "Wait a minute. I think I smell alcohol on your breath. Have you been drinking?" And I had actually had one man's brown ale only. That was hours ago, because I don't drink beer. I don't like beer. The only one I like was the sweeter ones. And I think I'd won a prize at the club. I think somebody bought me a man's brown ale before I went on this flipping job at the Haybridge Moat House. I said, "I only had one man's brown ale." And that was a long time ago. He said, I can smell alcohol on your breath. You'll have to do a breathalyzer." Blow me. So he said, "Blow into this, make it last for 8 seconds. He said, "Now," he says, "we'll see." "Oh," he said, "you're lucky this time, it's negative." I thought to myself, of course it's negative. I only had one man's brown ale. He said, "We'll let you off this time, but go home and get that light bulb fixed." I said, "Okay, officer. Thank you very much, sir." And then I drove off at 29.9 miles an hour all the way home. Well, blow me, folks. I reckon you've had enough of me for now. So I'll sign off for now. I'll tell you a few more stories again later on if you're interested. Let me know down below and subscribe to my channel. I think I've got some few more stories to tell you, especially ones in the army. So cheerio for now. Hope you've enjoyed this first little vlog.